Hello, welcome to Tina McDonald's Counselling Conversation. Today's conversation is going to be around the wonderful Mel Robbins let them theory. So it's all over social media at the moment, but as usual, when things go onto social media, they get broken down, they get simplified, and the actual theory doesn't really get looked at. It's just the screenshots, it's just those bullet points, and sometimes that kind of loses what the actual subject matter is around. If you have a look at previous videos, you'll see that I've done some on the chimp paradox and also the shark cage, and these I hope have been really helpful to just have a look around why we pick up on certain parts of theories and how sometimes we run with only a little tiny section of them because actually it feeds into something we don't want to discuss, we don't want to look at. But that's not really the point of some of the theories. So it's something that I have found really interesting, and that's why I wondered if it might be helpful for a conversation, because I think the theory is fabulous in its entirety. I am a little bit curious around some of the bullet points that people are picking up on. So if we are looking at the positives, then the let them, just let people do what they're doing. So when people are giving you advice, when you are being invested in the lives of others without being invited, without being asked. So, why would they do that? Why would they do that when I wouldn't do that? That kind of thing. That's the moment that offers you the pause to say, wait a minute, let's just let them. Because actually, that's what that moment calls for. Also, the opinions and expectations of others. So the same thing, but on the reverse, coming back to you. And people are saying, why are you? Should you be? All of those things, that if it comes down to their opinions and choices and expectations, again, see the video on expectations of others, then absolutely, that just the simple version of let them is probably quite appropriate. Also, if it's involved with the control of others, so taking preference, so you're talking through your preferences. So again, look at the video on boundaries, because boundaries is pivotal to part of this let them theory as far as I can tell. And these are only my opinions because I have been fascinated in a positive way around this theory. But also, isn't it difficult to do? To just say, let them. Just like that. Really difficult. But actually the difficulties around it is if we say, let them, and yet we don't look at us being emotionally disengaged, then that's not helpful. If we look at the switching off of our connections with others, about our relationships and the responsibilities that we have through our own healthy boundaries, then it becomes avoidance. It becomes the avoidance of the importance of the interaction. It becomes the avoidance of the positive of those boundaries. And of course, the sound bite, let them, is very positive. But actually, like I say, very difficult to put into practice. But that's not actually what the theory of the whole picture is around. And so when we look at the whole picture, it's let them if it's stressing me. Let them if it's not my stuff. Let them if it's appropriate. Let them if it's not actually avoidance and it's not leaving myself cut off from everything and everybody, because I am a passive passenger who's just letting them, because then that becomes the opposite and that becomes a negative. But the actual basics of just looking at when you get yourself involved and how that stress feels, that's really positive. Difficult, but really, really positive. And I just wondered if it would be helpful to open that conversation around it from somebody who's not actually involved in the theory and who is looking at it for a personal self, not just as a work tool. And so there it is. And so that was a whistle-stop tour of a wonderful theory. And thank you, Mel Robbins, for bringing this to the conversation. And I hope that my curious conversation around it was helpful. Again, comments, like, subscribe. Let me know how you're managing with the let them theory, and if it's something that you would find helpful within a counselling session, or whether it's something that as a life cycle you actually find it really, really difficult, and the difficulties are the part that the counselling conversation might help with. As always, thank you for your time and thank you for watching to the end. Like, subscribe, leave us comments and also suggestions for future counselling conversations. Thank you. Bye-bye.